In today's video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the upcoming pattern where we do have major storms around the nation happening over the next 10 to 15 days. We also have Hurricane Ernesto, officially a hurricane out there in the Atlantic just to the north of Puerto Rico now, expected to become a major hurricane category 3 before striking Bermuda and eventually, potentially, Eastern Canada as well. So lots of impacts there. We also have a much cooler pattern over the next kind of as far as we can see. I would say at least 10 days, 15 days or so, probably this final half of August at least, where things are going to look a lot more fall-like. I would say early fall-like compared to late summer like. So it is going to be a little bit more of a relief from that heat. And I noticed I went outside. I don't want to blabber on too long, but I went outside, I think it was yesterday when it was sunny, and it did feel pretty hot in the sun. But when a cloud covered up the sun, and there was some shade, it felt a lot cooler than it typically would. So it is sometimes the sun that is making you feel hot, obviously. And when you get that little pocket of shade, you can really feel how cool it is. And it's different than June or July. So we're definitely taking that turn towards the fall time. You feel a little bit of a chill in that wind or in that shade. And it's definitely a sign of the times that we're moving towards, which is just so exciting for a lot of us fall and wintertime lovers. Anyway, let's just dive into things. I can't wait to just break this all down for you guys. Let's take a look at later on this afternoon on Wednesday, August 14th, and we do see Hurricane Ernesto there, somewhere between Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, and then about 100 or so miles northward, maybe more. And what we see is also quite a bit of storminess still ongoing across some of your Rockies and northern plains and upper Midwest. So that is something that we're tracking as well. There is the isolated or scattered chance of a thunderstorm around for the Gulf Coast, up the southeast, and even up into New England. So be on the lookout for that, of course, as this is typical this time of year. I've mentioned that before. This is nothing out of the ordinary. Just a, 30 to 40% chance of seeing a thunderstorm, maybe a little bit more for some areas. And it could happen, it could not. It's going to be hit or miss for sure. You might notice my voice is a little bit messed up as well. I've had allergies all morning for some reason. So yeah, I'm a little bit sniffly. Just excuse that. I feel pretty good though. So we're good to go, thankfully. Thursday afternoon here on August 15th, tomorrow. Can't believe we're almost halfway done with August here. We do see that there is thunderstorms and showers around here for the Rockies as well as the Cascades. So these are just kind of around. We do see also across the northern plains and upper Midwest that there is a low pressure system here bringing some showers and thunderstorms for this pocket. Also impacting areas across, I think that's, what province is that? Is that Saskatchewan? I think so. They're kind of the central or northern areas of Saskatchewan. They're seeing some thunderstorms and showers around as well. Kind of the plains of Canada there. And they can get some pretty bad severe weather up that way also. So definitely something that we're watching fairly closely there, of course. We do see that there is once again just the chance of thunderstorms and showers around for that Gulf Coast, and then for New England kind of, split. We don't see much in the mid-Atlantic there, but to the north we do. Notice that Hurricane Ernesto is now down to I think that's a 983 millibar low pressure center there, and it's much further west than what we've seen on previous model runs. I mean, we're seeing it well in frame here, and this is definitely not boding well for Canada, to say the least. I mean, this is going to be not so good for a lot of these areas in eastern Canada, such as Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Definitely not good. So let's go ahead and keep going. I want to take us towards Friday afternoon here on August 16th. And we see that, again, the Canadian and U.S. Rockies are seeing some thunderstorms and showers, but mostly that Canadian Rockies. We do see that areas around the Hudson Bay and to the south of it down into the Great Lakes, we see kind of a double team of low pressure systems there. So we are seeing this is going to basically be a pretty large area of thunderstorms and showers, and you could even argue that it extends down to the Gulf Coast as well. Here's so something like this, low pressure system there, and here thunderstorms and showers really in that stacked column are impacting a lot of areas there, unfortunately. So could be a pretty stormy pattern, and this will make things feel even cooler, so keep that in mind. that this is going to really cool things down even further than they already would be, even if there was no precipitation and no clouds. Like I mentioned at the end of the beginning of this video, those clouds, that wind, both of those things can impact the temperature pattern pretty substantially. So definitely something to pay attention to. Hurricane Ernesto still on frame here. Let's keep going. I want to take this towards Saturday here on August 17th. And what we see here is that a lot of this storminess is now over the east, both in Canada and the United States. We're seeing a lot of thunderstorms and showers around for these areas. The west is hit or miss. I mean, we have a couple areas like the Pacific Northwest, some of the southern areas of those western Canadian provinces, and then around the Four Corner states with kind of a horseshoe of drier conditions there. So an interesting little pattern out west happening by Saturday. Let's take it to Sunday on August 18th, and what we see here is a lot of precipitation happening out west in different areas. Again, the Pacific Northwest in particular there, and then along the Rockies this time around is definitely what we're watching for. Also, look at this. I mean, we have this really strong ridge out west, and then a pretty substantial trough in the east, considering that we're only in August. So very, very interesting along the lines of what we've been calling for. Definitely much more fall-like than anything. We do see this low pressure is still around now in the east, so thunderstorms and showers are going to be prevalent here in eastern Canada as well as the northeastern United States. I want to take this viewpoint from this point forward. I know it's a little bit annoying, but I want to be able to see Ernesto here for the entirety here of this run. So we do see the entire North America view here. By the time we reach the afternoon of Monday, we see Ernesto accelerates quickly. So 989 there over eastern Canada. We see it striking there in Nova Scotia, unfortunately. And as we keep going, Monday, this is kind of the afternoon, evening time of Monday. We see these thunderstorms around kind of all underneath Ernesto. So be on the lookout if you're in the northeast or the mid-Atlantic there of the United States. Could definitely be pretty impactful. And then also, we're seeing across areas of the Rockies still some showers and thunderstorms around. But look at this temperature pattern. Massive ridge here in the west. Pretty big time trough here over the east. This is very fall-like. We can even see that this is coming straight from the Arctic here. You see these dips all around. That's going to be the colder air dipping down. So we can tell that it's really coming from up there near the North Pole. Very, very indicative of an Arctic blast for sure. As we reach towards kind of just a couple hours later, we see this striking Newfoundland and moving right over, almost impacting southern Greenland. It actually is here by Tuesday afternoon. Look at this, 979 still near southern Greenland, bringing some snowfall to that southern tip of Greenland. Very interesting to see this hurricane eventually turn into a snowstorm up there to the north. Again, look at all the snow up here in northern Canada, Greenland, northern Alaska. That is definitely telling that we are moving closer and closer to fall time, of course. Okay, now we can move back to the United States view, as interesting as that is. So here we are on, this is going to be, well, I got to switch the model run again. What day were we on here? Let's figure this out. I got to get us back on the 0Z run because that's the only complete run we have right now. So Monday, Tuesday afternoon, I think this is what we need to be looking at. And we see that there is a couple of showers or thunderstorms across the central states. Very hit or miss. Same story for the mid-Atlantic and northeast. But outside of that, really not much to discuss. As we reach towards Wednesday, it's the same story, much quieter. Thursday, maybe a little bit more activity in the east, but not by much. This is still very underwhelming. And then Friday is when we really get a big storm system here across the east. Definitely interesting to see across the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes here, and then along the east coast. As we take a look at the GFS model, we see what's interesting here is this has been the model that's been showing this Canadian strike for a while now. What we're going to see here is that this model is actually swayed away from a Canadian strike, and it's much to the south. And they've kind of switched roles. The European model is now showing that Canadian strike, and the GFS model is now not showing it, when it was the other way around just yesterday. So we've seen a big time flip here. We do see that across your kind of MDR, which is short for main development region, we do have activity in here, and I do suspect we will see further activity. We're going to look at the tropics towards the end of this video, not only the the cone forecast for Ernesto, but also the weeks 3 and 4 tropical outlook around the globe from the national, or actually it's from the Climate Prediction Center, where we see strong indications of tropical development for the end of August from them. So we're going to take a look at that a little bit later on, but watch that area. We do have activity in there. Look at Ernesto too. I mean, really south of Canada there, south of Greenland, not even close to where the European model showed it. And it actually comes a lot closer to striking Ireland than anywhere long term. But the MDR, we don't see anything come out of there, but we do see plenty of activity pretty much the whole time here. So you would suspect that by August 30th, we will see more systems develop there, as activity seems highly likely. As far as our precipitation anomalies across the US, we see mostly above average across the north and to the southwest of Canada as well, and then much drier across the south central and southeastern states. Also, due to popular demand, I will take a look. I forgot to pull this up, but I will take a look at the total precipitation here, because you guys wanted this back. But we do see that there is higher amounts here across the northeast and north central states in general. We're looking at about 2 to 5 inches across these reds, so much more active for these areas. And we can see under those amounts here. I mean, we're looking at maybe half an inch, maybe an inch in some of those blue areas, getting close, but much below normal compared to what's typical for this time of year. Now let's take a look at the temperature pattern. And again, cooler air is around, especially if you get some pockets of shade or a little bit of wind out west as well. And not a lot of warmth to go around actually right now compared to what's typical. As we keep going, we see that we do warm up a little bit by even just Friday, Saturday timeframe, but another cool down comes around for the east here. This is by the time we're looking at Sunday, Monday timeframe, so cooler air returns to the east. And look, it's really sticking around here and even expanding to some of the upper Midwest, the plains as well. We're seeing this really expand and stick around. This is all the way by the 25th. Here is the 27th, and we keep seeing this model push this back, but eventually by the end, it keeps wanting to show warmth from coast to coast. This almost never happens. I can guarantee you this will not be what this temperature pattern looks like by the 27th. You know, you're not going to see red everywhere. These models just average out at the end usually, as they kind of just go back to climate norms. They don't really have an opinion, so we get this kind of averaged outlook. So I wouldn't really pay too close attention to anything past, I'd say, this point. This looks a lot more plausible. We see some opinionated outlooks here for sure by the 25th. So about hours 240 here. You know, anything beyond that 10-day period, it looks really averaged out. Look at how it all kind of looks the same too, day over day over day. Not very realistic. Here's that long range outlook here. So this is over the next 45 days overall, what we're seeing from this model. And we're seeing cooler air overall for the east pretty consistently here from the 14th today all the way until the 28th of September. So through the entire month of September almost. We're looking at a cooler start to this fall season for sure, even out west as well, with a little bit of a warm up here for the plains and some of the Rockies. So that is the overall pattern here. Let's take a look at this cone forecast, where again, we are at hurricane status, currently at maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. We do see that this one is expected to become a major hurricane by 8 a.m. on Friday, which will put it at Category 3, before kind of lowering back to either Category 2 or Category 1 hurricane status before striking Bermuda, or at least very close by. And currently we see this cone forecast is along the lines of what the GFS model is showing, maybe a little bit further north, not showing a direct hit to Nova Scotia or Newfoundland yet, although we do have model guidance showing that, so definitely consider that a possibility. Not the only one, but it is definitely a pretty strong possibility that needs to be watched very closely. Here is that global tropics hazard outlook by the Climate Prediction Center that I told you guys about. We do see that there is definitely a high probability. This top one is between August 21st and August 27th, so about a week from now until a week after that. And we do have some pretty high probabilities of tropical development there in the reds there across our MDR, which again is short for main development region. Probabilities increase though as we reach August 28th through August 3rd, that week after. And we're really keeping high probabilities of development from the 21st all the way through the 3rd of September. So you can imagine that would likely result in multiple potential tropical cyclones. So all of this needs to be watched very closely. Of course, we will continue to keep you guys up to date on all of these things, the tropics, the cooldowns, the long-range temperature pattern, the storms around the nation. We do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.